The defensive variety. Gross had a swing. Caicedo!
This video is sponsored by KlipDraw, a software that we use to edit our videos. If you're interested in using this software too, please see the description below for affiliate links. The next Idrissa Gueye, or the heir to N'Golo Kante. Just how good is Moises Caicedo?
Moving the ball onto Lacazette. There's just no options.
In terms of defensive game, Caicedo shows a lot of natural talent, whilst his defensive actions per game are not elite just yet. He has demonstrated a wonderful blend of positional sense, aggressive ball-winning tackles, and clever interceptions. And that's why he's been compared to a young Kante. In my opinion, he hasn't quite got that raw energy of a Leicester City Kante, but his strong success rate in defensive duels is evidence that he's a shrewd operator defensively. I could see him doing the Henderson role in the three-man midfield. He could possibly even be a CDM because he does have the ability to read the game from a defensive perspective in and around the box. And he's definitely a more efficient ball winner than a Fred, in my opinion, who's more energetic but a lot more scattergun positionally. This situation here, as we can see, the way he holds his position, he's got that composure in CDM situations once again. It's not just a reckless ball winning, and that's what I like about him. In terms of Caicedo's dribbling, if you look at it statistically, dribbles quite often, likes to ball carry often. In terms of his success rate, isn't quite elite numbers yet, but he progresses the game well. He's got a lot of skill, as we can see in this situation here, which slightly separates him from N'Golo Kante and Idrissa Gueye, who are mostly about little shifts and feints when they're dribbling, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have that in his locker as well. Very agile player, generally prefers to be efficient rather than over elaborate with the ball at his feet. And what I particularly love about him is the ability to progress the game once he's won the ball. He loves to drive straight at the heart of the opposition, and that makes him a potent player for teams who counter-press. Great sense of balance, even when he receives the hit, generally tends to want to stay on his feet. And yeah, he glides with the ball.
Cross either Caicedo, Cucurella.
At first glance, Caicedo's possession stats look disappointing, but it's worth noting he doesn't yet operate for a top team which controls games week in, week out. And it's not really the nature of his game to be the dictator for Brighton. So that explains why it looks like he barely participates in possession. Yet if you were to look more closely at how many forward passes he makes per his passes per game, it's actually a very high ratio. Almost 1 out of 3 passes go forward. So this is a player who doesn't take the easy option. He's always looking to progress the game and play at a high tempo. Everything is almost looking to go forward. We can see that here. Spots a forward pass, plays it. So he's someone who he's always scanning, looking forward, trying to progress the game. He's not someone that hides and goes backwards.
Caicedo again, trying to feed it in there.
As touched upon in the previous section, Caicedo's always looking to progress the game, and this makes him an underrated creative weapon. He's someone who has an innate sense of the attacking momentum, and he generally wants to be part of the attacking wave, and therefore you wouldn't want to put shackles on him. He's someone who can find smart key passes and layoff passes which lead to shots. Is he going to regularly break defenses down with crazy Xavi-esque vision? Absolutely not. But for a box-to-box midfielder, who in my opinion will probably be on balance more of a defensive player, he's more than a solid creative passer for one so young, and expect it to improve in the coming years. He's someone who, like a Wijnaldum, can definitely add to a team going forwards. Okay, perhaps maybe not as creative as a Wijnaldum, but he's very efficient in the way that he passes the ball forward. And his decision making generally is quite spot on. He's got composure in and around the box.
North London were tasty.
In terms of Caicedo's long passing, statistically not very spectacular, and based on the eye test, there's definitely some talent there, but still a fair bit to go before it becomes an elite aspect of his game. I'd say he's definitely good enough to fit into an elite environment with his long passing, but he's not someone you would trust to be a deep-lying playmaker with his long passing just yet. But his long passing fundamentals look better than Kante's did at that age. He's got a bit more flair in the way that he strikes a pass. Technically, it looks very aesthetically pleasing, but in terms of the weight of the pass, not quite there yet. So he's not able to turn defense into attack with precision just yet. And his switches of play can sometimes be overhit. But in my opinion, there's just that feel that there's a lot of potential here. He's only 20. He's already at a 58% accuracy rate. It will get better with time.
Wide. Delivery again, and Fofana with the...
In terms of his goal threat, Caicedo is someone who naturally gets forward. It's a bit like Kante, a lot of energy. Someone who, even though he's a defensive player, just when he wins the ball, that ability to drive forward is naturally going to put him in goal-scoring situations. He's got an accurate shot on him, but there's nothing which suggests to me he's going to become an elite goal-scoring midfielder, scoring 10 plus goals a season. But he can definitely chip in with 5 to 10 goals a season when he plays for an elite team. He'll find himself in a lot of counter-pressing situations. He is composed in and around the box. And the more we see of his long shot, the more we're going to probably see goals. So definitely an area of his game which he can improve, but there's ability there.
Headed away by Dunk.
In terms of his aerial ability, Caicedo doesn't quite have the strength or the height of his previous colleague Bissouma, but he's competitive, he's scrappy, he's willing to put his body on the line, he's got a good spring on him, so that means he isn't going to be a liability, but he's not someone who's going to get much match-winning headed goals or be useful in helping the team to defend set pieces. Tactically, Brighton play in a 3-5-2 and various variations of that particular formation. Caicedo tends to play as the left-sided box-to-box midfielder in a two-man midfield. Previously it was with Bissouma. We know Brighton play a very progressive style of football, and Caicedo is more of a ball winner than someone that just stations himself in the defensive hole in front of the centre-backs. In terms of his role in possession, Caicedo is encouraged to move the ball around quickly. He's a facilitator. In terms of where he could go, I think in particular he'd be a great fit at United, Liverpool and Chelsea. I don't think he'd be as great a fit with Arsenal because tactically and leadership wise, would he be a better fit than what Xhaka is bringing to that side right now? And in terms of the dressing room, perhaps not, but he would make them harder to beat and give that midfield more pitch coverage. As for United, next to a sitting and aging Casemiro, he would give that midfield a bit more bite, a bit more nous defensively, and he'd be able to progress the game going forwards more quickly than a Fred. Fred is someone who statistically looks great, but I just think he's got a low football IQ and he's very, very inconsistent. Liverpool, since Wijnaldum left and with Hendo aging, are in desperate need for a box-to-box industrious midfielder who can outrun the opposition. And Liverpool are famed for having workmanlike yet technically competent midfielders. That's what Klopp has utilised to great effect recently, and I think he'd be a great fit for that system. Now, in terms of Chelsea, I've constantly compared him to Kante. That's not to say I think he's going to be as good as Kante, but on profile-wise, he's a great replacement for the Frenchman next to, say, Jorginho, and he's got the experience of playing in a similar system, so it'd be an easy transition tactically. Of course, whether he would be able to achieve what Kante's done for Chelsea is questionable, but at least he'd be fit and available for selection more often. In conclusion, Caicedo is a player who reminds me of Ramirez. Kante, he's an underrated engine who helps assist specialist CDM DLP hybrids, and he also provides an additional defensive shield so that the likes of Registers don't have to work as hard defensively, and because he's a facilitator, he'll be able to get the ball to them nice and quick. Is he going to be generational? It's tough to say because Ecuador are not going to achieve much at international level, so that places a huge emphasis on the success of his club career, and his exposure to great players will be a bit more limited. He's a good all-round player, but is he as impressive as a Kante was at Leicester? I'm not sure, but there's no reason why he couldn't be generational. He's skillful, he's tenacious, he's smart. Yes, he doesn't really control games or nor is he a huge goal threat, but it is about the system he's put in, and if he finds the right type of manager who understands the strengths that he brings to the table, he's definitely going to be world class. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share and subscribe, and see you guys again next time. Bye.